Oh, well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It's a lovely hump day over here from Helsinki, Finland. Nice little Wednesday. No snow in the air today, so god damn it, hopefully that stays consistent at least for one goddamn day, because I'm tired of slipping and sliding around this town, man. It's actually like quite dangerous. Anyways, with that said, I would like to wish you the best and the happiest on this nice little hump day. And with that said, we got plenty to talk about on Bitcoin, actually. Sincerely, actually, a lot to talk about, as there is a lot going on in both the short-term timeframes and the long-term timeframes. And there's actually a very contrarian analysis between those two timeframes as well. So today's going to be one of those more nuanced days, I suppose. So I shudder to think of what some of the comments might be. But you know what? That's okay, because this one's for the TA nerds today. And we can now look at the Krown Chain application, which, by the way, can be found at app.krownchain.net. And there's apparently bets going on over here. Does Krown bump rails of Coke before these streams? Actually, no, man. Caffeine's good enough for me. So fair enough. And if you don't fucking believe that, at the end of the day, man, I think caffeine's like one of the most intense drugs on this world. It's crazy to me that there's a caffeine deal on every goddamn corner of every street in pretty much every major city of every first world country, maybe even second and third world country as well. Anyways, with that said, into the Krown Chain application we go. A couple of very interesting things going on right now, as we do see the fear and greed index has actually come down quite significantly from about an 81 read, as we saw over the last 2 to 3 days, now down to about a 68, of which I would say that is very, very strange to be looking at, especially with Bitcoin having about a $2,000, $3,000 rally since we last spoke yesterday. So with that in mind, I do want to match that up with the actual chart itself. So keep that one in the back of your mind's eye. Bitcoin dominance also kind of hovered around the same area, still 16.25%, of which I am looking for a nice reversal on there on the whole. But as we have been discussing, NFTs and some of the 2017 shitcoins have been on quite the tear, and those ones do not really get included in that as well. Realistically, it's kind of hard to balk at this down here with Polygon and the likes going like 30+%. That is just absolutely insane. Binance Coin having another fucking teen-digit day on a percentage read. Chili's doing up another 11% as well. Jesus Christ, man, this is just insanity right here. And on the other side, we do see that NEM actually taking a bit of a backseat. Nano, Uniswap, Engine Coin, all taking a bit of a backseat right there. It is kind of interesting to kind of keep tabs on the altcoin market, because it actually has added a little bit more to my own analysis, my own understanding of the markets. And that's one of the values that I actually really like about these live streams, that when people ask about these shitcoins that I typically wouldn't look at or have any interest in looking at, it actually is enlightening as far as the underlying market dynamics, because typically speaking, you want to see everything in this market more or less moving together, and it can be insightful. So into the market data tab we go, and where do we stop? Only Bula Jesus knows. In this case right here, we do see that the funding rate is actually starting to once again spruce back up. We do see it kind of maintaining still below the threshold, obviously, but you can see that it is trending a little bit to the upside there, of which that would be in line, and that would be very consistent with Bitcoin's breakouts out of these bases, because you would imagine that is going to be on the same side, representing that it is going to be a little more costly to hold your longs in a more or less bullish market. Well, no shit. And we do see, more importantly, with the open interest versus price action, open interest actually did make, it looks like, a new all-time high yesterday. Let me just double check on this one. Yes, indeed. Okay, we did actually make new all-time highs on open interest. So again, as we have been saying for the past, I don't know, two to 3 weeks now, this is obviously reaccumulation. The question is, does Bitcoin get on the fucking rocket ship right now and start moving, or do we play out a little bit of a short-term time frame pullback? Well, hint, probably a little bit of a short-term time frame pullback, but ultimately all of the major things that we've been looking for throughout the past couple weeks kind of notify of a further continuation phase to the upside have more or less been hit as of the last 24 hours as well. So it's like, it's a little bit of a difference in analysis depending upon which time frame that you're looking at. Naturally speaking, 5 minutes not necessarily going to influence or fully influence it daily, but there is a lot to be said right there. Anyways, into the singular charts we go, and I do see something very interesting right here. We actually do see that the perpetuals versus futures premium is actually increasing, which you would not expect, especially on a downside move like that. But the market is kind of getting a little bit frothy. Pricing in that move, I think a little bit faster than what it really should be. So again, kind of playing into a little bit of a short-term time frame pullback narrative. Bitcoin dominance more or less sideways, so we should check in on the actual charts and singular charts for that one. And going over here into the funny rate, we do see that there's just a couple of outliers. Everyone else is not really in any crazy areas. I mean, BitMEX, Huobi, Deribit, all around that 0.1% region, which is just nothing. And we just have a couple of usual suspects like Bybit and FTX way the fuck out there. But but we've seen that plenty of times before. I don't look at that as concerning in and of itself. I want to see 3+ exchanges get above 0.1% and hold there for like, you know, more than 24 hours. Usually 48 to 72 hours is when we do put in tops, like the last time, for example, around $58,000. And the time before that, well, that was right around here at about $42,000. So actually just blindly playing that is, funnily enough, actually pretty damn good. Anyways, have we covered everything that we want to speak about right here? Yes, I do think so. Oh, I want to warn you, we are having the 3-year anniversary for the cave community in March 15th. So that's going to be next Monday. So don't fucking buy anything right now. I'm warning you. There's going to be a sale. If you want to save yourself a few bucks, just wait a few days and all good. Anyways, okay, cool. I'm a great fucking marketer. Don't buy anything. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, well, whatever. You know, we have more important things to get into right now. All right, like like these secondary charts over here. Actually, in a more serious tone, I do want to check in on the total market cap just really, really quickly here. Yeah, okay. We don't see anything too out of the ordinary, but I do think that, actually, this is rather interesting. We are making new highs on this one down here. Very, very interesting right there. That would be the altcoin market cap, that is. So that one actually already is kind of in trending motion right now. Anyways, into the secondary charts we go, and we want to start off with the higher term time frames today because, yes, we actually did see a lot of the things that we were looking for over the last couple days pretty much come to fruition, and that was met by a daily total closure about $54,000. Also, we are seeing several signs on our secondary charts after this nice like 2 to 3 week long consolidation. First things first, we see daily MACD officially having that bullish cross. Nice. More importantly, that is coming alongside of a break of the medium term time frame range. Obviously, these two things need to be given together, and then on top of that, we do see that this does have hidden bullish divergence very much confirmed right here between this low in late January and this low in late February, and that's going to be your 30,000 low right here and your basically $45,000 low thus far. On top of that, we do see that the ADX DMI falling through on that bullish signal. We do see the DMI Plus having a nice little pick me up above the threshold, plus ADX also above the threshold now and strengthening, both having positive slopes. Good. Last few times that we've seen signals like this was back on over here in early February before this run from about $39,000 to $58,000. Time before that was this signal over here coming in from about $19,000 all the way to $42,000. And the time before that we saw a similar signal to this was way the fuck back on over here at about $11,000 in October, basically leading up for almost a 2x to $20,000. So there's several more instances than that, but I don't want to get too deep into that. But overall, I do want to start off with saying that the high term timeframes, as we have been looking at, especially with the monthly closure from February, is still indicating more continuation of the upside. Bitcoin still more or less bullish on the whole on the longer term timeframes. Yes, I am essentially looking for higher price action over the next few weeks. However, in the short term timeframes, there's a little bit of a different story going on right now. But before we get into that, should also notify this one as well. Mr. Punkland, yeah, Mr. Gravy Grits. I just love calling out these guys' names. I really like both these guys, but poke a little bit of fun at Punklandia from time to time because he's a good guy. He can take it. But more importantly, right here, they have noticed actually a very good interpretation between the green, not the green, but the cyan 55 exponential average and also the bottom side trolling bands, of which anytime we've seen the 55 cross the downside of the bottom side trolling bands, that has at the very least broadened price action all the way down to the bottom side trolling band to test there at the very least. Sometimes a little bit lower, that's fine, but at the very least there. And then when you get the bullish cross where the 55 crosses above it, well, you can see the results coming in from right here where this one happened, and then Bitcoin pops above the 20 simple. That's your brown moving average right there. Boom, off to the fucking races. Same thing over here, cross to the downside, test, boom, bullish cross right here, off to the fucking races. Same thing over here, bearish cross, boom, test. This one actually shoots through, but this one tells you, hey, this is time to be accumulating, and then off to the fucking races once again. And same thing actually to the downside several times in 2019, as you would guess, as Bitcoin went from essentially $14,000 to like $4,000, that is. Anyways, several more instances other than that, but I think we'll settle on that for now because that is going to take too fucking long. And more importantly, we got plenty to get through today. Also on the 2-day, I should notify that there is a signal in progress here as well. We do see continuation off this one. DMI Plus very much dominant, bouncing off the threshold. Oh, interesting how that works, isn't it? A little bit of a bullish reset is what that would imply. Plus ADX all strengthening at the same time from a reasonable area. Good. And what do we see on top of that? We see that 2-day MACD is going to have a chance to cross the upside. Does need to close above $57,000. Not happening today. Tomorrow, though, it will be closing. And then 3-day, I think, is closing today as well. Is it? Yes, indeed it is. The 11th. Okay, excellent. So 7 p.m. Eastern time, we will see this one actually close. Here's what I want to see on the 3-day, and this would be very, 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 very good for indicating continuation probably before the end of this week. The end of this week meaning Sunday, that is. And that would be this. I want to see the 3-day MACD cross the upside officially. That will happen above... sorry, it's actually just going to... Actually, it's just going to do that naturally as long as we remain above 52,400. So actually, nice one on that one. By the way, you can get this indicator for free just off TradingView. It's just caretaker reverse MACD. It'll show you all the price points needed in order to solidify these conditions. Pretty damn useful tool. And actually, I've been using the MACD a lot more in my own more long-term analyses. On top of that, we see the same signal on DMI ADX as well. But good points of confluence right here, obviously. And that would bode well for the next like week or two to come. Looking for those for those next upside targets into the deeper $60,000 territory. Now, with all of that said, or actually, should we talk about next targets to the upside? Again, this is only relevant for the long term right now, so I want to be very clear about that. I am actually looking at this as very likely a reaccumulation formation in the sense of a cup and handle in this case. Is what it's kind of shaping out to be. It's technically not in there just yet, so I'm kind of breaking my own rule of visualizing the pattern before it actually is fully very much in there. But it's looking kind of obvious, to be honest with you. So every once in a while, I will get a little more aggressive like this, and we can make a measured move off that depending upon where kind of the breakout territory is. I'd say the 414 is going to be a little bit more of a conservative estimate on this, and it is rather interesting to me to see that this actually lines up perfectly with the 3 spot 618 right here, right around your 68,000, just above $68,000 territory. So that would be the target if and when Bitcoin does get going, anywhere between there and like low 70,000 bucks. Yes, there very likely are stops along the way, no shit, but those are pretty well documented right here. I'd put specific attention on the $62,000 region and then 66 right here for short and medium term time frame pullbacks. But ultimately, the target would be somewhere in the deeper $60,000 territory. I'd say 68 to 69,000 bucks. You never know when one of these stray wicks goes. Anyways, now let's go down into lower term timeframes and talk about this going on right here, right now. So while all of that is good and all of that is, long term very good, yes, absolutely, I would still be expressing a bit of concern in the short term timeframes. By a bit of concern, I mean, well, actually, a decent amount of concern right here, as we do see 4-hour momentum oscillators all start to point down right now. 4-hour stochs coming down after getting very, very aggressively in the critical zone right there. And then on top of that, 4-hour RSI, while this again is good long term, this is a very constructive read long term. Short term, does it play out a little bit of sideways and down? Yes, it's looking like so, as Elsa just destroys her fucking keyboard in the background. Jesus, there we go. Now on top of that, this is all coming off of an expanding HVP read down here. So it is starting to actually break this signature that we're looking at. So I actually would be looking for a bit of a medium term time frame move to be transpired from this, meaning that Bitcoin very likely is going to make a nice move today. And in this case right here, with a little bit more of a volatile Bitcoin, I would not be surprised to see Bitcoin play out a little bit of a short-term time frame pullback first, anywhere back down around the 21 exponential average between there and the 51,500 pivot that Bitcoin broke out of earlier this week is, completely fine. Doesn't really do all that much, but we do have, a rather large range here. So I do think that it is relevant to be speaking about, because that would be a $2,000 move at the end of the day. So as long as Bitcoin is above 51,500, I do look at this as, just more or less likely to continue onwards and upwards from there. But I do think that short-term time frame pullbacks are suggesting a little bit of extremely short-term weakening, that is. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin, back down around 51,500, 52,000 bucks. But I would be looking for a bounce around there, at least on the first pass, and then come back to it after that. The higher term timeframes obviously take over and trump, well, the lower term timeframes in this case. Anyways, going through the lower term timeframes, we've already kind of gone through the 4-hour right here. I'm sure someone's going to say, but Krown, is there a signal on the 4-hour? No, there's not. Actually, there's not. It's a little bit of a warning signal. I mean, it's kind of hard to keep up your momentum at that point, but it's not a signal. Anyways, 3-hour Stokes, same thing. Basically precipitating the 4-hour Stokes, obviously, as it naturally should, and 3-hour RSI, a little bit of bearish divergence off the top there. I think you can say that we've already kind of played that out to the 21 down here. Again, I would be cognizant that this one could very easily test just a little bit lower, and it wouldn't really do all that much for price action right now. But we're seeing more or less the same thing here as we did see on the 4-hour. Back onto the 2 hour, what do we see right here? Basically same shit. This one having obvious bearish divergence off the top. And what do we see on bi-hourly Stokes? We actually do see it turning down as well. But what's interesting about the bi-hourly Stokes, we actually do have, oh my God, this is a monstrosity. Sorry, I apologize. I have way too many trend lines on this right now. They're all relevant for different time frames, but this is the one that I'm focusing on right here. We actually will be testing this one at the edge of the bullish control zone. Not on this tick, but I think the next tick it very likely will. It inevitably will. So ultimately, you know, do I think that we have a little bit of short-term downside? Yes, I do. Do I think that that ultimately gets picked up? Very likely, yes. You know, higher term time frames are, I don't really see anything bearish about them, to be honest with you. Hourly, we got an hourly jewel sell signal, but that actually happened a few hours ago, so kind of already mostly played out, I'd say. And same sort of bearish divergence right there as well. And momentum offset is all pointed south across the board. So, you know, with that in mind, again, a little bit of sideways, a little bit of downside as far as the lower term timeframes go. Higher term timeframes, again, very much bullish. So I have to be very careful here. And then again, do I really need to be fucking careful? At the end of the day, man, I understand that most people who actually give a fuck to tune into this content, they are the TA nerd type that is actually gonna, you know, understand that. Probably just a vocal minority that is just like, but Krown, you said, Jesus fucking Christ, man. Hey, time frames, sir. Time frames, for the love of God. And of course, you know, I'm gonna get shit wrong too. I mean, if you've been on this channel for, you know, at least a few months, you've seen me be wrong plenty of times. But at the end of the day, they should always come with, you know, some sort of a trigger on the other side. And that's what I really pride myself on, because that's what you can actually, you know, control as far as analysis and trading goes. You can't really control like what actually happens, just the interpretation of that. Anyways, looking at this right here on the 12-hour, same sort of thing. Again, 12-hour RSI, which speaks towards more of the long-term trend or the medium-term trend in this case. I would be looking at this as more or less good. Short-term, a little bit of downside. Probably does come back down and test the exponential on this. Usually your first test into the bullish control zone does get pushed back. Not a huge issue, but short-term, a little bit of downside likely implied. Same thing with 12-hour Stokes right here to, you know, get looking a little bit tired as it is right now. I see Mr. Ian Terry. Wait, what's up, Ian Terry? How you doing, man? Hi, Krown. Is AVAX more dead than your sex life? My sex life is dead as fuck, man. Elsa, start putting out, bitch. I don't pay you fucking 5 nanos an hour for nothing. She thinks it's funny. She thinks like spousal abuse is funny, especially after Women's Day too. It's like, whose team are you really on? She obviously does not identify as, you know, a chest feeder. Anyways, do you want to check out AVAX really quick? Yeah, we can check out AVAX really quick. Man, I've known Ian Terry for a fucking long time now. This is awesome to see him still here. AVAX, is it deader than your sex life? Well, long term, let's see. No, actually not. Actually not, man. This looks pretty fucking good. Maybe you're looking at a different exchange, which is why you're seeing something that maybe I'm not. Let's see. What other bullshit exchanges we can look at right here? Maybe you're talking about some sort of OTC bullshit over here, but that's unlikely, seeing as that's AVXT. So I'm guessing that this is some sort of a crypto. No, I wouldn't say so. No, in fact, if I'm just looking at the Binance chart, this is bullshit as fuck. In fact, your sex life is off the goddamn hooks, man. You're like some sort of exorbitantly rich, like crazy person who needs to, I don't know, just listen to David's show about that kind of shit, about what sort of prostitutes he's messing with. Anyways, maybe this chart right here has more history. No, okay, it looks pretty consistent. No, not dead at all, man. In fact, I would be bullish. I would be very bullish on this, to be honest with you, man. Ultimately, I'd be looking for another retest of like 40 to 41 bucks, and probably some more upside after that. Maybe you're looking at the Bitcoin parent. Let's see. Let's see what sort of nonsense we can find over here. Bitcoin parent, no, even not that bad either. So fair enough, man. No, I'd have to humbly disagree on this one. Yeah, daily momentum also is pointing back up, putting in a higher low. I'd be looking for this one to pop back up towards like the mid or upper 70,000 Satoshis region. Anyways, back on a Bitcoin, baby. Oh, we're on a fucking roll right now, man. Anyways, let's see what we have on the daily. Or actually, did we get through the 12-hour fully? Yes, we did. We got 12-hour RSI. We got 12-hour Stokes right here. 12-hour HVP just still contracting a bit, so not really much to say about that. But the daily is rather interesting, seeing as we do see momentum offset still pointing northwards, actually about to get in the bullish control zone for the first time since actually early February on that run all the way for, oh, this is a rather similar signature, isn't it? Look, breaking in the bullish control zone right here, that's 4th of February, by the way. Breaking above this level right here, that's 4th of February, by the way. Also breaking above the range high, very, very nice. And then we had the exact same signals over here as far as the Bollinger Bands go, and MACD and DMI. Rather interesting how that works sometimes, huh? Anyways, I'll Sifu Krown Bro, how did you get into trading? We'll get into that. I'll answer that once I kind of get through Bitcoin a little bit more here, but I'll be happy to talk about that soon enough. Anyways, daily still is, well, would it say that it's still playing out the hidden bullish divergence right here? No, I'd say that this is more or less played out. I mean, that was your move from 47.5 all the way to 56. I mean, that's nearly a $10,000 move. I'd say that that's more or less played out. But the buy daily has this one already played out. This one actually having it more or less confirmed as of 4th of May tick right here. So it's actually not so long ago. I'd say it's relevant to say that this one still probably has a little bit more upside on it. And what do we see on buy daily Stokes crossing back up, more importantly within the bullish control zone. So we are seeing that is getting picked up exactly where you would expect. But again, you can even see from the 2-day that the range could be very easily down to like $51,000, backfill in last 2-day open, test the 10 simple, and then bounce off there. So again, short term, I would be a little bit cognizant of a little bit of short term sideways and down. High term timeframes, though, I feel are still very much bullish here. And then the 3-day, same thing. Although this one has not closed yet. It closes tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And what do we have going on right here? Well, fuck, I have all these goddamn trend lines, but I don't have the one that matters most for the 3-day. Isn't that rather interesting? Anyways, what I'm talking about is this guy right here. You can already kind of visualize it in there. Same thing as what the 2-day is doing, but the 3-day being a little bit of a higher term time frame is going to hold a little bit more weight. And this one again will close tonight, so you would expect to see it get picked up right here. So that would really set in the buys for the next half week to a week to come. And we see the same sort of hidden bullish divergence off the lows here as well. In fact, this is kind of what I was alluding to yesterday with the bearish divergence leading to the bullish divergence. And that is just the way that we kind of see these ebbs and flows in the market. And again, a very, very long-term constructive read on the 3-day RSI. I mean, this one goes all the way back to like 2017, and especially from May 2019 to where we're at right now, looking very, very good there over the long term. Again, speaking very much long-term right now. What do we see on the weekly? Of course, we identified this yesterday. Weekly does have hidden bullish divergence in motion right here. Now, I would say that this is technically not confirmed. I would, however, say that off the top of my head that at the end of the day, is this one of those times to kind of be a little more aggressive on one of these reads? Looks likely to me. I mean, this very clearly is higher lows right here with momentum also still pointed northwards. Yeah, it is very aggressive right now, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't put it past Bitcoin to kind of play that up first and foremost before the next sort of major dip, if you will, or derp, if you will. Anyways, to answer new 510's question, okay, Sifu Krown bro, how did you get into trading? So how did I get into trading? My father was a trader actually on the Pacific Stock Exchange. So when I was a kid, like ever since I was like 10 or 11, I think 11. Every summer I'd go down and actually just be like a clerk for my father, and I'd basically just filling out orders and whatnot. And it was kind of fun, especially as a kid, because you go down to the floor of the exchange and it's like a fucking adult playground. Like people are like yelling and shit and having a lot of fun. There's a lot of laughs, a lot of smiles, a lot of also little like intense stuff as well, of which you can see some pretty crazy shit. Like one time a guy got stabbed with a fucking screwdriver. Pretty fucking wild there. I remember one time like the fucking security guy thought that like a guy had a bomb, and so he tackled him. Crazy shit. And that was also when things were like pretty up and at him as well, because I was a kid at that time, so there's like 1,500 people on the floor, and it's it's kind of like a cramped space. So it was definitely a good time. And so that kind of got me interested, because like I was always a little bit on edge as a kid, especially like thinking about what happens when you get older and you have to like put on a fucking suit and tie and go to work and be all civilized, I suppose. And then I go down there and it's like an adult playground. It's not civilized at all. At all. Even one of the times this fucking broker threw me in a trash can. We ended up being pretty good friends, but that was like the first time I got bullied as a kid. Anyways, what we should also do now is we should go into traditional markets as well. I do want to check in on all the big three: NASDAQ, SPY, and Dow Jones, of which we should actually start off with Dow Jones, right? Remember, Dow Jones was making new all-time highs yesterday, of which it actually did make another new all-time high yesterday. But more importantly, a little bit of a short-term time frame rejection, and that kind of does play into the short-term time frame pullback on Bitcoin. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one back down somewhere around about 31,600 to 31,600 to 31,500-ish region, and probably does try a bounce from there. But short-term momentum also just pointed downwards, a little bit of a rejection right there, and then more importantly 4-hour RSI coming back down in a range as well. So I look at all of that as a little bit of sideways and down, but ultimately it doesn't get picked back on up. I mean, there's nothing really bearish about making new all-time highs, to be fair. Looking at the weekly right here too, I mean, this is kind of a hard chart to hate, so I would be looking for overall continuation, very similar to Bitcoin as well. Anyways, or how are we looking right here? Yeah, this one actually looking very, very good. Weekly SOS kind of showing the more immediate story, and then weekly RSI showing the more long-term story, of which this one's really maintaining and putting a consolidation right here. You can even see these higher lows on the RSI into the bullish control zone. I look at that as more or less good and very likely to make a stint, a run for the edge of the the bullish control zone in this case. But that's obviously, you know, based off the weekly, so probably going to take, you know, quite some time, you know, probably like a month or two. Anyways, looking at SPY futures, which is kind of like the next one in line as far as strength goes, with Dow Jones leading right now, I would be looking for a little bit of a short-term down, maybe back down to the 10 simple, somewhere around about 3840-ish region. But did we hit our 3900 target from yesterday? Hey, we did. No, we didn't. 3901 and a quarter. Krown, you're wrong. Fuck you. You know, yes, yeah, I'd say so. Overall, I'd be looking for this one to give another try higher, probably towards 39.25 to 39.30-ish region. Probably does retest the prior all-time high. Hey, is this a higher low in the context of a long-term structure of higher lows? Yes, it is. That is rather interesting, with momentum also just pointing northwards. And do we have some hidden divergences coming off the lows? Holy shit! Do we? We do. Yeah, so overall good. And I'd be looking for further upside probably over the next week to come, with short term, you know, a little bit of sideways and down. Did get a nice golden cross in the 4-hour moving averages too. Nice, not bad. And what do we see on NASDAQ? Kind of the laggard of the big three right now, but this one was leading for the most part, you know, not just for the most part, but like literally for the last, I don't know, 10 years or so, maybe a little bit longer than that. This one obviously salvaging itself. We did say that there was likely going to be a bounce yesterday. We did get a nice actually bounce. In fact, this bounce looking a lot more like a reversal to me, especially in line with what we see on SPY futures and Dow Jones futures. So I kind of look at all of these in their totality together. And in this case, you know, do I think that this one's going to pull through? Very likely, yes. I think it'd be very unlikely that we see NASDAQ enter into like a full-on downtrend, whereas the other two big indices are actually, you know, just continuation or at least holding sideways right now. So with that in mind, I would be looking for NASDAQ to make a run towards about $13,000. That's the next big pivot. If NASDAQ can close a daily above there, I'd extend targets significantly further into about 13.4 to 13.5-ish region and then come back after that. But again, you know, is this looking like a higher low in a context in a series of higher lows? Yes. Is momentum also turning up at the same time? Yes. Is the general broad market more or less healthy? Yes. If we go over here and even look at the mid caps, is it good as well? I think it's okay. I mean, it's not as strong as the other ones, but Russell 2000 acting at least good enough here for another try a little bit higher, maybe like 227, 230-ish region is where I'd be looking towards. So I think we've kind of got through the whole market right there, and perhaps now it's time to get onto some comments and all that good stuff. Oh, before we do that, we should get into the pie chart right here. I forgot to update you guys on this. So Caretaker made a reverse function for the pie cycle top indicator, and it's free. You can grab it off of TradingView. Just go to your indicators tab, type in like, I don't know, Caretaker pie cycle top, and he actually added a new function onto it where it actually shows you the percentage away from the current reverse function that price action is. And as you can see right now, it is currently at about a 90.65%. So it is moving rather aggressively, trending to the downside, obviously, and will naturally do that faster as long as Bitcoin is basically Bitcoin just goes up but doesn't hold its current momentum. So we are kind of on like a ticking time bomb, but you can see that it's still, you know, very, very far away to go. At the end of the day, if we even get towards like the first major red flag warning signal, which I say is about 80%, and then 75% is like, okay, very extremely likely game over. We've never seen it recover after 75%, but 80% we kind of have, not really, but kind of. You know, would still put Bitcoin at, you know, some pretty exorbitant numbers here. I mean, we're talking about like a fucking $111,000 Bitcoin at that point. So as always, you know, this one's very reactive. I kind of have to check on it, you know, on a daily basis. But for now, you know, it's still pretty damn far away, and you can see that this is, you know, very, very much variable. So until we really start to get into like those lower 80% numbers, it's not going to really be all that consistent. Well, I mean, it's still going to be consistent, but it's just not going to be all that like relevant for what we're looking at, because it moves so slowly. Anyways, okay, cool. All right, getting through all of this right here. Let's see what else do we got. I see some shitcoin talk. It's good. Can we check out SNX 4-hour and daily? Sure, Mr. Cole Evans. SNX, is this SNX? Whatever the fuck this thing is, man. On Binance probably. Let's see, 4-hour. A little bit of sideways. Let's see, a little bit of sideways, but overall good. I'd probably be looking for this one to just take a leg up here. Daily's looking good as well. I'd be looking for this one to take a pop back up towards like 26 and a third, 26 and a half region over the next week or so. It looks pretty damn good, to be honest with you. How about we get to 100,000 without rushing it? Lol. What do you mean rushing it? Sir, we went from fucking Bitcoin, who the fuck is we? Bitcoin went from 10,000 to 60,000 pretty much in a straight line. I mean, yes, there was one major pullback and then the one that we just saw right here. This one was about like a 30% one. This one a little bit under 30% one. I mean, that seems pretty fucking good so far, to be honest with you. Nero Strutzen says, can we look at BAT? Sure, man. BAT symbol, B-A-T. Yeah, I remember this one. This is your Brave browser. Fucking hate Brave browser. I'll tell you why. Because people use the goddamn Brave browser, and then they can't use the app because it's a fucking shitty cryptocurrency browser, and it doesn't work with a lot of things. Although I think it actually does work with the app. But you know, what are we looking at right here? Again, long term actually does look pretty damn good. I'm never going to be bearish on something that's like literally making new all-time highs. Obviously, this one going through a long-form accumulation here as well, versus the dollar specifically, versus Bitcoin pair. And I do remember that that's quite a different story, to be fair. But would I maintain long-term bullishness on this? Yes, I would. In fact, this one kind of already had its short-term pullback. I'd be looking for this one to actually give another try to the upside here, probably towards the prior all-time high at 85 cents, and probably I'd very much not be surprised to see this one at $1 in like the next month or so. It looks pretty good actually. Let's see, what else did I miss as of right now? Alrighty, Tesla up 20%. Holy shit! Tesla up 20%. Let's go see it over here. Where's my Teslas? Where's my damn Teslas? Where the fuck is it? There we go. Yeah, it literally is up 20%. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so we did say a bounce on Tesla, I believe, coming into this week. Getting that bounce right now. And actually, I would actually extend this target for the bounce up towards 750-ish region, most likely. I'm not necessarily convinced that this is going to reverse back into all-time high mode again. I mean, technically speaking, this is, obviously an uptrend long term, but there's very clear signs of distribution at the top right here. And I am kind of inclined to think that this next move to the upside likely is a bull trap, and that probably happens somewhere between about 750 to 780-ish region. But for right now, I'd still actually be looking for a little more upside. And let's see if that lines up with any major fibs here too. I imagine it's probably gonna be like the 618 if I had to guess, or well, let's see. Hold on. Let me get a bearish retracement for what we're looking at right here. What do you fucking know? 760 at the 618, right fucking there, and that would be your proverbial bull trap. So I would be short term, medium term upside, long term questionable right now. I do think that this one's had a pretty impressive rally for the long period of time, but Jesus Christ, but quite aggressive at the same time as well. Nero Sturton says, "Thanks, bruh. Thanks, man. Thanks for getting my pronouns properly too. I prefer bruh in bro." Jesus Christ, man. All right, let's see. Yes, Brave is all I use now on my laptop. God damn it, Darren. Is it good though? Is it actually good? Brave is awesome and it makes money for me. Yeah, all 5 cents for looking at shitty ads. Sorry, but seriously, value your time, man. Anyways, it's probably not a big deal. Just sharing my stupid opinion on that, man. Don't pay me no attention on that. Anyways, Stony Brown says, oh no, he's talking to Elsa. Would you please try one BTC? Go for it. Hey, what's up, Philson? Bruh is the new Zer. That's right. We're an endangered species nowadays. How about Ethereum Classic? Hey, what's up, Tokyo Channel? Been a while, man, but good to see you still around as well, Mr. Ethereum Classic. Holy shit, man. I have not heard anyone talk about Ethereum Classic since maybe 2019, maybe even 2018. So what is Ethereum Classic looking like over a long period of time? Pretty shitty. Again, when we do see that pretty much everything within this market is either retesting the prior all-time highs or making new all-time highs, more importantly, something that's not even close to that is certainly relatively weak. Now, within the general context of the strength within the market, is this one likely to get pulled up? Yes, it is. Likely yes. So what I'd be looking for it to kind of get reaccumulated somewhere at this like $11-ish region and try another move back up towards $15 over time. Yes, I would. It's very likely to follow the rest of the market. But in terms of relative strength, is this thing worth paying attention to? No, I'd say certainly not. There's a plethora of charts that we've already looked at today that are significantly better than some like this. But does it move up with the rest of the market? Yes. The case that I'm constructing is that, hey, it's not going to be as much as some of the other more interesting charts that we've seen thus far. Can we get a buzzer? I don't think it really deserves a buzzer because it is turning the corner here and it does have a weekly uptrend in motion. I can't really look, I'm happy to buzz fucking this, okay? Look, this bad, this very bad, this extremely fucking bad, this is terrible, absolutely fucking terrible, but is Ethereum Classic anywhere near something like this? No, it's not. I mean, this is just a long downtrend that's probably never going to end within the totality of its history on higher term timeframes. That is, I mean, if it's not getting a fucking rally right now, I don't know what's going to move the needle on this one. I mean, shit, man. Even just looking at like where's my ripples? Where's my ripple me nipples over here? There we go, 46 cents. Even versus the dollar. I mean, this one still doesn't look all that interesting. Although, it does get pulled up here too. Yeah, it probably does. Probably does see 60 cents again, and probably does even gun for a buck, but. Versus your Bitcoin pairing, completely different story on that nice pump and dump signature right there. Pretty fucking nasty, man. Anyways, let's see. Hey, what's up, Coop? Can we look at Ethereum USDT 4 hour? I mean, come on, bud. Oh, Jesus Christ. Come on, bud. ETC and no Ethereum is like killing unicorns. Man, if you fucking call me bud again, god damn it. Let's see. Okay, Ethereum over here. On the 4 hour, it's going to be the same analysis as Bitcoin, man. It's really going to be the same thing. Probably extremely short term, probably going to pop back up to like 1825, 1830. But similar to Bitcoin, I'd be looking for a little bit of sideways, a little bit of downside with a base somewhere around the 200 simple here at low 1700. Do I think that this one falls through to the upside overall? Yes, it's the exact same chart as Bitcoin. But short term, can this one have a little bit of downside? Yeah, I do think so. I think it's a little more likely here, and then gets picked up and tries getting higher, maybe later this week or early next week. You smoke my poll, Krown. Wow, man, that was a really enlightening message that I read on the internet today. It's like, Jesus. It's like, I'm gonna fucking tell Krown. I'm gonna type out, you smoke my poll. All right, buddy. Okay. Big day. It's a big day. I'm telling people off on the interwebs. Jesus Christ. Not now, Mom. I'm trolling. It's like, Jesus. Okay, Twitter suspending Twitter accounts again. Meh. Yeah, man, I've heard a lot about this that who was it that got their account suspended? Was it Crypto or someone else? Something like that, man. Unfortunate. And it seems like there seems to be some obvious like interplay with the way that Twitter and YouTube are just kind of blindly identifying what would be against their rules. But it seems that anytime that they appeal these suspensions, it's all good and no real harm is done. I mean, I haven't really seen anyone get a suspension that actually sticks, but it's very unfortunate to see that like Plan B and Willy Woo, for example, are being targeted now. Which, I mean, they're pretty like reasonable people, in my opinion. I mean, yes, they can sometimes have like pretty egregious analyses and whatnot, but that's not anything illegal, right? And more importantly, it's usually backed up with information as well. So at the very least, I feel like they're well-rounded. So it's very interesting to see that they're actually like getting targeted in that way. I would imagine though they're going to get their accounts back soon enough, anyways. SD Hodl says, can you look at Algo USD? Sure, I gotcha. Let's see. Oh wow, actually cut above my thumb. What the fuck? All right, Algo USD. This one on Binance, maybe? Yeah, Binance probably the one to be going to. Same thing as Bitcoin, a little bit of sideways, a little bit of downside on the short-term time frames. If we're going to a daily, however, would I be looking for this one to try some upside into the next week or two? Yeah, very likely. Probably like 140, or not 140, 140, maybe even $1.50 over time. Again, one of the better charts. Well, I wouldn't say one of the better charts, but it is, comparatively speaking, one of the better charts to some of the shit that we've looked at earlier today, like Ethereum Classic. This one very, very close to its prior all-time high. A lot better of a signal right there. But again, we see several charts within the crypto sphere right now that are not just, retesting prior all-time highs, but making new all-time highs, which is a lot more impressive, obviously. So again, in terms of relative strength, this one's probably kind of in the middle of the pack, I'd say. Maybe a little bit lower on the, in the middle of the pack. Short term, a little bit of sideways and down. Could easily have another move back down to like 110 even or 109. But over the next couple of weeks, I'd be looking for this one to continue the rally upwards. I mean, you can see clear reaccumulation in this level right here, clear rising lows. I mean, you can even chart this out a bit as an ascending triangle, and I would agree with that. So you do have your rising bottoms coming in actually a little bit lower than that, not 109 but 107. So anywhere between where we're at right now and that level is fair game, but it would still have a bullish bias long term as long as that level holds, obviously. One of the few times you'll see me use a diagonal trend line, but it is warranted in that case. Hey, what's up, John Johnson? What's up, bro? Impact on Bitcoin immediate and long term if US lost a world reserve currency. Okay, so the question is, if if the U.S. If the USA was no longer the world reserve currency, what would be the impact on Bitcoin in immediate and long term? Well, that would call into question what would become the world reserve currency. And right now, I think that would very unlikely be something like Bitcoin, which I think is what the implication might be. It's still a little bit too young in its life to kind of, take on a meaning like that, in my opinion. I mean, we're still pretty fucking early here. Like, put this into perspective. Bitcoin has a market cap of like $1 trillion at most. It's somewhere around $1 trillion, right? And that is respectable, no doubt. But there are companies with bigger market caps than that. Gold, for example, I think the market cap is somewhere between about 8 and 10 trillion, depending upon how much it got beat up in the last couple of months here. But more importantly, over time, could Bitcoin be something like that? I think it could. I think it's definitely a better alternative than gold, just because you programmatically know exactly what it's intended to do. There's not going to be any fucking discovering gold mountains like El Dorado, and and that just ruins the whole supply, or like a planet of gold. All that good shit, of which plenty of people sent me links as to like literally that kind of shit actually popping up in the universe after I spoke about that about a week ago. And that was really fucking interesting to look at. So what I would say with that is, what would the immediate impact be? I mean, it would probably be bad, because anytime that you call into question the current narrative, or not the current narrative, but the current like status quo, right? Then the immediate reaction is typically going to be indecision and also uncertainty. And the market, and this is something that you can just apply in general, but especially with markets, the market fucking hates uncertainty, absolutely fucking hates uncertainty. And anytime that things are uncertain, it will usually respond with downside. And when you come into question with, what is a reserve currency of the world, and the US dollar kind of going to shit, would that benefit Bitcoin? I mean, I think it would benefit Bitcoin long term, yes, just because it would solidify in a lot of people's minds, hey, the world reserve currency is not something that's set in stone, and this can be variable, and this can change over time, and so why not fucking Bitcoin? This thing seems a little bit more sturdy in the sense that like it's not really owned by a sovereign nation, but it's governed by I suppose like code. So I think that could open up the door for it, but in the immediate term, I'd actually be looking for some turbulence, and I'd actually be a lot more concerned about the world just in general if that were to happen, as that would probably indicate like either there was a financial war or like an actual war, and that's probably not what we want either. So I'd like to, I don't want to be cheering on the fucking end of the world there, is what I'm trying to say, man. I think that we drastically underestimate what things would look like if Bitcoin were to like just take over, for example, or anything to take over the dollar right now. It's going to include a lot of short-term and medium-term probably pain, and I think that cheering on something like that just shows that you probably haven't really thought things through. So in that case, I do want to say in a more sincere tone, like, look, this is why I'm very fucking averse to that sort of a shit, because it could really cause a lot of pain if something like that were to happen. And at some point it probably will happen. I mean, historically speaking, that is the trend, right? But enjoy it while it lasts, and hopefully it doesn't happen during a lifetime, because, well, that would probably suck. Flavio's, hey, thanks for that, Flavio, but feel free to leave a message too, man. It's all good. Tokyo Channel says, ever got the katana made? You have a great day. Yeah, you have a great day too, man. Yeah, man. So I've actually just gone ahead and started to like really do some research into swords, and I'm currently in contact with this guy from, I think it was England or something. Who one of the guys in the program actually turned me on to. So I'm actually really, really looking forward to that. But to like get a true sword made, to get like a true master to do it, it actually takes a long time, because, well, they're doing it like by hand. So it's not so easy, apparently. Carlos says, take a look at AMB. Okay, so no time frame, no base pair, no exchange. What should I be looking at right here? I'm guessing it's some bullshit cryptocurrency. Ambrosis. I remember this bullshit from 2017. Let's see what it's doing now. And what is it doing now? Hey, Krown, can you look at AMB? I've been holding this thing since 2017, and you know what? It just pumped up. It just pumped. It fucking pumped. This is Green Deal to Party, Krown. I read about this one on the internet. We just went 350% to the fucking upside. Krown, what the fuck? I'm still down 97.95%. What the fuck? Okay, so that's the shittiest chart I've seen all day. That was worse than Nano, man. Like way worse than Nano, actually. Nero Struton says, bruh, why don't you put much stock in harmonic patterns? It's not that I put much stock in harmonic patterns. I'm just not an expert in that regard. I do respect them a lot. There's one guy in the Discord named Sanctum who I need to give a massive shout out to because he's been hammering it with the fucking harmonic patterns. Are they always right? No, of course not, because nothing's 100% perfect. But he does actually call a lot of moves really well. And more importantly, it usually lines up with what I'm doing as well. So I actually respect it a shit ton because there's good confluence between the way that I kind of look at ranges and the way that I trade and the way that harmonic traders kind of look at things as well, especially with the fib extensions and the fib retracements, because that should naturally have confluence. So it's actually a really good thing, and I really value Sanctum for that reason, because I can look at what he's looking at, and it's like, okay, does this line up with what I'm looking at? Okay, if that's the case, very likely to play out. If not, well, maybe one of us has some to rethink, and that's actually been really valuable. So massive shout out to him, really great guy as well. La Major says, Gray bug, can you check short and medium term? Sure. All right, so it is symbol GRAY, and this is Gray bug. Yep, Gray bug on NASDAQ. All right, we have a real... Whoa, Jesus Christ! Okay, bad. Get that shit out of my face, man. Short and medium term. Hey, it looks like a red dildo party, man. I think that stock is dead. There is no long-term dead heartbeat. There you go. Obviously it's probably going to bounce, have bounces along the way in a more sincere tone. I don't know how much of a serious analysis you want, something like that, but it is, long-term, I think that's a pretty bad signal. Like here, actually, we should do a bit of a dissection on this one. Okay, because there are a few interesting things to be speaking about here. So when you see something like this is like cleared. Okay, first off, what stands out to me, this is a fucking 4 hour. This thing doesn't even trade to begin with. Like, you see days where it barely even has any moves. I mean, we're talking about days with literally less than 100, or sorry, not 100, but literally less than 1,000 volume on the books. So this thing doesn't trade to begin with. You can see clear signs of distribution at the top, and then the fucking death drop, and all of the bullish bungholes have been skewered. We have popsicle sticks sticking through your mouth hole, out your bunghole, and it's a red dildo style. So that is looking incredibly bad right there. Would not be surprised to see this one. I mean, it's already gone for the full retrace. It's how like you have a blue sky breakout. This is like a black hole breakdown. So yes, there will be bounces along the way. Is this one would it be bullish or anything resembling bullish on that thing anytime soon? Fuck no. Might be dying actually. Daniel Garcia says SY on 3-day and monthly. Sure, man. All right, nice. We got time frames and we got symbols, and I'm guessing it's this baby right here. So young. I'm the youngest guy in the world. I'm feeling so young today. I'm the fucking youngest guy alive, baby. 3-day and monthly. All right, let's check it out right here. Bad 3-day. Probably does have a short-term bounce, maybe back up to like $12.5, maybe even a little bit higher than that to like 13, anywhere between 12.5 to 13. But ultimately, I would be looking for more downside. I would be looking for more downside just in general. Monthly is pretty abysmal here too, but there's not that much history to be fair. I mean, only going back to May 2019, I don't really trust the monthly as much. In fact, if I am looking at the monthly, there are a couple things that could make me bullish. That would be this month just maintaining back above $13. So while I would be looking for a 3-day rally back up to $13, maybe over the course of the next week and a half to 2 weeks, I would be looking for that to likely get sold into. But hey, if it does start to maintain above that level, especially close 3-day dildos above that level, that keeps open the monthly hopes alive, and perhaps you actually do see this one reaccumulated. But for right now, just given what I'm looking at right here, I would not be too interested in this thing. At least if I can only play this one to the upside, that is. Anyways, okay, cool. Flavio Amorel says SXP. Okay, SXP. What the fuck is this? SXP USD. Okay, so we're definitely getting into the Binance shitcoins here. And you said on the daily and weekly, is that a head and shoulders? Okay. Is this a head and shoulders? No. Well, I'd want to know where the head and shoulders is. If you're looking at this area right here, no. If you're looking at the totality of this, also no. So I'd say no on both, but you don't really need to, what I'd really, I don't want to say advise, because I don't want to sound like I'm coming off as like a fucking moralizer, but what I really suggest is that, what's less important is the name of patterns, and what's more important is, well, the interpretation of them and what it actually means. So at the end of the day, I mean, that's kind of why I just go off of generic sort of trend lines for the most part. And in this case right here, I mean, we don't even really see anything to begin with. Now, reapproaching its prior all-time high, good. Yes, does this one kind of fit into like the strong, somewhere a little bit above the midline of the stronger coins as far as the cryptocurrency space goes? Yes, I would say so. So it does deserve a little bit of respect. Similar to Bitcoin, you know, could have a little bit of short-term downside here to like 260, maybe 2.5, but overall, I'd be looking for this one to give another try to the upside. This is clear reaccumulation to me. So while technically speaking, could you have a head and shoulders in on this? You could have made the argument back around here, but taking out the height of that right hand shoulder, that's your clear indication that that's not what's going on. I mean, also the neckline was not very well done either, so you know, I would say it wasn't really ever going to play out as one, to be honest with you. But more importantly, looking at this right here, a little bit of short-term downside, but overall in line with the rest of the market, just in line with the rest of the market, I'd be looking for this one to give another try higher, probably towards a prior all-time high. I mean, at this point, it's pretty much at the prior all-time high. So I'd be looking for this one to probably make new all-time highs over the next month or two. Just speaking of the monthly, this one does look pretty good. Yes, I would be looking for further continuation to the upside over the long period of time, which it looks like you're more interested in, seeing as you're looking at a daily and a weekly. Ronald Jaspersad says, Uniswap perp the 4-hour FTX if you can. Sure, okay, FTX perp, I guess is, oh, no, sorry. All right, here we go. Maybe it's just Uniperp. Uniperps. Uniperps, huh? Yep, there we go. Okay, Uniperp right here. Looking very good, but of course, there is more history on Uniswap, at least that I'm aware of. This one, actually, maybe not. This one goes all the way back to September 2020. I know that it's relatively new. Making new all-time highs, never going to be bearish on that. Short term, does it have a little bit of downside? Yeah, probably like 29.25. Maybe a little bit lower than that to the 21 exponential average at 27.25. My point is, long term, I'm looking for this one to continue until it does. And right now, looking at the weekly, this one very, 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 very likely makes new all-time highs, probably even this week and extremely likely next week. So what would the next targets be to the upside? I don't really think that you can make even a targeted region from this. In fact, the only way that I'd have for this probably is already played out. And what do you know? Yes, already hit the highest of those extensions right there. So I'd be saying overall a little bit of a short-term pullback and probably followed by long-term continuation. With no real targets in mind, because this one's in a blue sky breakout, so it's kind of doing its own thing. It's in price discovery essentially. So fair enough. Looking good, sirs. Looking good, sirs and zers. And let's see what else we got going on over here. I think I just missed one more. Okay. Yep. Okay. There we go. I see John Johnson, Dick Dickerson. No, my man. I'm definitely not cheering on the end of the USD reserve status. I was mainly asking if another nation's fiat became world reserve. Oh, if another nation's fiat became world reserve, that would still be indicative of like some serious turbulence. And you know, I get that, man. I get that. It's just I feel like a lot of people in the cryptocurrency space are constantly talking about how like the US dollar is gonna fail, and that's gonna be good for Bitcoin. It's like maybe not, actually. Maybe not. At least not in the short term. I would think, you know, it's gonna come with like a lot of turbulence, and honestly, I think that if people actually knew what that would feel like or look like, then they probably wouldn't want that. And you can see this for yourself. Just go and read a little bit of history. Read what happens to civilizations when their fiat currency gets devalued like shit and it fails. I mean, the most recent one that comes to mind, obviously, is going to be, you know, Nazi Germany in 1930, 1940, right? Like their currency went to absolute shit. Even the fucking United States currency was pretty shitty at that time too. Just about worthless. But you know, all throughout history, a lot of the time, what we have seen at the end of civilizations is usually their currencies get extremely inflated, and then, well, you know what happens next. So it's usually not very pretty, man. I mean, just look at fucking ancient Rome too. Like when they got overrun by the barbarians, by the German barbarians, it was not fucking good, man. Not fucking good at all, and did lead the world into what was known as the Dark Ages, right? So at the end of the day, man, it's you know, it's not a good thing. I understand that you're just you know, asking for you know, for an opinion. I'd say it would be indicative that something, you know, terribly has gone wrong, and we're probably going to be a lot more concerned about other things, you know, more personal things than like magic internet money business at that point, as it could mean a whole lot of different things. Hey, it's all good, man. Long-winded philosophical questions are actually pretty damn fun for me, man. So I'm actually, I'm actually very much happy to talk about that, Mr. John Johnson. And cool, awesome. Andres Ruval says, Krown, LHHMQ. LHHMQ. Man, that is a long ticker right there. Oh, that is Lehman Brothers. It trades OTC now? What the fuck? What the hell? Wait, Lehman Brothers, one that like makes, no, that's Lockheed Martin. Okay, I don't know what Lehman Brothers is then. All right, it sounds familiar. It sounds like Lockheed Martin is what I'm thinking of. 1 month, it's going to go up, right? You already know my answer on this chart. I mean, it actually, oh my God. This is your real chart, by the way. This thing used to trade at about 25 bucks, now trading at 9 cents. Yeah, I don't really trust them like this. I mean, you know, if you put it on a log scale and you just get rid of the numbers on the side, is it as bad? You know, we clearly do have some higher lows here, but I really don't trust them that trades OTC and just has a death drop like that. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that one, man. Not so sure about that one. Yeah, looking at the monthly, I mean, pretty fucking nasty there too. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing come back down to like 2 cents or something like that, which is a fucking crazy move seen as it's currently 9 cents. God damn, man, nasty. Anyways, no more paper says Atom USD daily Binance. Okay, nice. That was actually perfect, man. Got the base pair, got the time frame, and got the exchange. It's like couldn't be better right there. Anyways, looking at the daily, same thing as Bitcoin. This one kind of already playing out its sideways and downside move to the 21 right there. I'd be looking for bounces off this level, and I'd be looking for it to reapproach somewhere above about 23 bucks over the next I don't know, half week to a week. It's looking pretty good here. Clear higher lows and a long history of accumulation here from about 2019 May to more recently in January 2021. Yeah, I'd be looking for continuation here. Clear accumulation plus consolidation at a high level in a reaccumulation format with higher lows along the way. Yep, looking good. CHZ USD. Okay, I think this is this Chili's? Is this Chili's? Is this what this is? It is. Holy fuck. All right, let's check this one out. You said daily as well. Very, very good chart right here. Wow, this one's one of the best charts of the day, actually. Clearly in a blue sky breakout, making new all-time highs. Already played out the backfill pullback that we spoke about likely to happen on Bitcoin. I'd be looking for new all-time highs on this one, maybe even today. Very likely throughout, very likely at some point at the end of this week here. This one's looking pretty damn good. Well, I mean, it looks pretty damn good, but if I go down to the short-term timeframes, maybe I do look for a bigger pullback down to the 21 here. But my point is, which is actually, funnily enough, 21 cents too. But funnily enough, you know, over the long period of time, this one does look pretty damn good. So I'd give it the respect. You know, yes, is it getting a little bit aggressive here? Yeah, it's getting incredibly aggressive. You know, I do think that this one's going to be coming into a bit of a reversal somewhat soon, especially based off of HVP over here, seeing as it's like red as hell and really doesn't have too much more space to go. It's literally at a 99 percentile right now, above that 99.60 region. So it's kind of ripe for a bit of a pullback at some point. But for now, just to have another push up first before that happens, it's looking likely. I don't really like going against them like that until you actually have the reversal in, and then you can start to target, you know, big moves down. In this case, you know, big base would be about 11.5 cents long term, which is probably where I'd be looking for, but for now, still some more upside, I suppose. Hadaku says, love ya, and Elsa's laugh, much love, sir. Can you check out .USD Binance daily fib extension? Okay. DOT, I'm guessing you want it USD? Yeah, okay, yes, it is USD. Binance, daily fib extension, okay. Based off the daily, well, you can do several points right here, but I think the more obvious and the more pertinent one is this clear reaccumulation phase right here. A very obvious ascending triangle at a high level. Don't need extensions for this one. This one's just a clear, this one's actually probably one of the more clear charts that we've seen thus far. .USD, ascending triangle does have a nice measure move on it, and breakout above prior high at about 39.86 would imply a measure move towards about 48.25. Personally speaking, do I think it just guns for 50 bucks after that plays out the psychological number? Probably yes. Short-term timeframes, you know, maybe a little bit of sideways, maybe a little bit of downside, but ultimately, I really like this one at a high level, looking pretty damn good. How high do I think it's going? Probably around 50-ish bucks, give or take, and then I want to see it again, maybe like in the next month or so. James Manning says, Krown, take a look at triple D on the daily. Okay. DDD. I need my 3D. That's right, triple D. How do you think about that, Elsa? Okay, that's concerning. I'd be looking for a bounce here, but long term, this one looks like it has some problems. Yeah, long term. Well, let's see. I'd be looking for a bounce here, regardless of whether I'm bullish or bearish. Probably does bounce back up towards like 34.5 to 35 bucks, and then I'd be looking for a pushback somewhere right around there. So short term, medium term, bounce up. Does it put in another high somewhere around like what was that, 34.5? Yeah, about 34.5. I'd say at the very least a pullback there, and then I don't know, does it turn into another lower high? Perhaps yes, but at least for now a little bit of upside, which I think is what you were looking for. La Major says XPEV short and medium term, please. Okay, XPEV. Okay, XPEV, XPeng. The fuck? Shitty as fuck. But not much history here, to be fair. So it's like, how much can you really beat up on someone that barely even has, doesn't even have a year of history? Not much. Short term, does it get a bit of a relief rally? Probably yes, towards 32.5, maybe even a little bit more over time towards 35. But it seems like you're looking for short term. Yeah, I'd be looking for a short term bounce. Medium term probably does push back somewhere around that $34 to $34.5 level. Probably be looking for lower highs there and probably continuation of the downside long term. To be fair. Anyways, moving on, we got Ronald Jasper says, thank you, sir. On March 14th, Alta owes you a steak and some sugar. Sounds good to me. I like it. Wait, no. God damn. Fucking dish is way too loud right now. Out of the kitchen, sir. Hey, thanks for that, Lombardi. Okay. Well, I am very scared. Let's see. Hey, big thank you on that, Mr. Lombardi. But again, man, feel free to have a message. Actually, I need to take a sippy sip of this water, man. I'm fucking thirsty right now, like incredibly thirsty here. Oh, there we go. Okay, good for another 1,000 miles. I suppose yelling in the early morning hours before I've warmed up my vocals is not a good idea. Anyways, Jonathan says, good morning, guy. Hey, what's up, Jonathan? Hope you're well. Hope you're well as well, sir. Do you still have a keen eye on Bitcoin versus the Korean won or Japanese yen these days? I haven't really been checking on it as much just because I think that the US charts have kind of been more or less fine on their own. Looking at the yen right here, I still have them on my list, of course. Looking at the yen right here, it had a little bit of a better close than US markets yesterday. Actually looking a little bit better than U.S. markets in general, to be fair. Let's see, weekly looking more or less the same, so we're not really getting anything different on the higher term timeframes. It does have a slightly better posturing, yes, but I haven't really felt the need to check in on them as of recent times, just because I think that U.S. charts have been pretty damn consistent themselves, so it really hasn't added like too much to my analysis to be looking at them. But you're looking at the Korean won as well, same thing. I mean, we're not really getting too much unique information from this that isn't already shown on U.S. charts, so. Yep. At some point, does it come back to being a little bit more important? Could be yes, absolutely. But long term, it looks like they're more or less the same. So I haven't really seen anything anything too unique about it just yet. That we in 2018, 2019, yes, there's a lot of unique things, but not right now at least. 09BMed says, can you look at GB weekly on TSXV? Okay, so some sort of Canadian stock here. Let's see, you're talking about this one, Ginger Beef. Oh, that sounds good. Oh, Jesus Christ, this thing does not trade. Yeah, I stay far away from shit that looks like this. Look, this thing isn't trading for like weeks at a time, man. Literally no fucking volume here. Barely doesn't even move at all. Do I trust something like this? No. If you got rid of all this shit and made it like a line chart, it'd probably make a little bit more sense. It's very clearly going under accumulation right here, but the real story is that this thing's probably trading in like some offhand market, and it's essentially the equivalent of like a shitcoin. But is it likely to get some upside here? Yes, it is. It's just I'm concerned whenever I see something like I showed you earlier. Whoops, let me go back to regular. Oops, this is actually how I used to look at price action in traditional markets when I was a trader there. I only looked at bar charts just as an aside. I think dildos, however, they're a little bit easier on the eye. Anyways, it technically does have a good chart, but I'd express concern over the lack of information that we see right here, and that would be my one pushback on that. But as far as the chart goes, yeah, it's fine. Probably does retest the prior all-time high. Probably makes new all-time highs. I mean, that is accumulation right there. It's just it trades on an offhand market, so I'm always kind of inclined to think that like something else is going on. It's clear insider trading at some point, and who knows what that leads into. Like someone obviously has uneven information, which is natural, to be fair. Andres Ruval says Lehman Bros got wrecked in 2008. Yep, that's it. The Lehman Bros got wrecked in 2008. That's right. I was thinking of fucking Lockheed Martin, which makes like weapons, for the military. But similar things, I suppose. CDO crisis. Yeah, there you go. Okay, let's see. I see John Johnson again. John Johnson says, will a US-based Bitcoin crypto ETF put the moon boosters on Bitcoin like many say? Good capital inflows, yes, but is there more to it? I would say it's overall a good thing. You'd likely see a very similar response to what you saw when CME futures went live. You're going to see the initial mania, because what matters more, John Johnson, what matters more in these sorts of situations is the sentiment, really, and the expectations that go along with that. that. So the expectations are that an ETF will come about, and it sort of legitimizes the space, right? The more and more that you see Bitcoin integrated with the traditional land, the more and more that it essentially says, hey, Bitcoin and, you know, most cryptocurrency is going to be here to stay, and, you know, get used to it. Essentially, it legitimizes it, especially in the eyes of, you know, the people who are probably a generation before myself, and I don't even know which generation I even count as, but but like, you know, the older generations, essentially. Like if you're 40 plus at this point, I'm just in my early 30s, so I'll take that one. But more importantly, it'll legitimize it for them, makes it easier to kind of invest in Bitcoin. So theoretically speaking and fundamentally speaking, yes, it would be a good thing for Bitcoin. Now, in practice, what's likely to happen? What's likely to happen is something very similar to what we saw in CMEs right here, in that, you know, you get your run up to this, like, or sorry, we should actually go to a more long running chart than this. You know, you get your run up to it, like CME futures were announced, I think somewhere back here in October, November, and Bitcoin just goes fucking moon mission mode after that from about 6,000 to 20,000 bucks. And then what happens after that? Well, the event happens. What was expected to happen happens, but it's not like changing, you know, anyone's life or anything like that. And Bitcoin goes through about a 3-year long sideways and down market, obviously. So what would I expect for a Bitcoin ETF? Well, I honestly think it's inevitable to happen in the US. I think it's even very likely to happen this year, as I've been saying for the past 2 years, in 2019, probably around 2021, maybe 2022. But I do think 2021 probably is the year. And long term, it will be good, legitimizes it. Short term, after it actually gets listed, I'd probably be looking for that to mark maybe the next major top. So it's kind of one of those funny things as well, because, like, you know, you see a lot of people who are like against the banks and the financial institutions, but at the end of the day, it's like, look, do you want fucking real usability and integrations within the current system, or do you want to fight a battle that's never going to be won and most people don't even give a fuck about to begin with, which is like, let's replace the dollar with a Bitcoin? It's like, okay, you haven't really thought about this, have you? Because you kind of need, you know, to be able to manipulate your currency's value in a way, because you need to be able to control inflation and deflation. And then you say, but Bitcoin's deflationary. No, shut the fuck up. It doesn't matter. Like, look, if money, you know, you have to be able to kind of promote you know, money borrowing and money spending through manipulating interest rates, because that's how, you know, you can make it easier to create businesses, for example. You know, that's something that people who've never created a business do not understand, and something that they don't consider, and they just think that like everything runs off of their very myopic and small view of the world. So I'd say in that case, you know, it's a nuanced topic, obviously. New bro says, Krown, bro, obligatory look at GME, bro. God damn it, you're gonna make me see this one right in front of my very face. Looks like I might just be wrong on goddamn GameStop. GameStop, fuck you, sir. Jesus Christ, yeah, it looks like the rest of the broad market's bringing this one up. Yeah, looks like I'm gonna be wrong on this one. Motherfucker! Well, there you go. All right, Krown being an absolute fucking moron and being wrong as hell, but I wouldn't say it's over just yet. I'm sticking to my guns. I'm still holding on to it. It's never going higher, bro. Again, on this one, man, I'm still very much averse to this, just because it's not just a chart action what's going on here. You have like a clear underlying dynamic going on as well, and you know, I've seen that game being played many times, and I'm very, very skeptical of it. I'm very, very skeptical of it. I'm still not sold on it, but hey, am I playing GameStop? Fuck no, man. I have no interest in that. Chad said, he says, on Sunday, March the 14th, we'll all buy Chili's coin and pump it into a new world currency. The look on the Illuminati's face will be priceless. That's right, man. We're all going to get fucking rich buying this useless cryptocurrency bullshit, which I don't know, what is Chili's used for? Do you get like a free meal or something? I don't know, man. Is it still in place anyways? Hey, what's up, Nimbo? I see you over there. Nimbo says, retailer CFDs getting banned everywhere. Latest is Bybit UK users no longer able to trade futures after 31st of March 2021. Okay, so that's actually coming up a couple of weeks here. So with UK and USA users unable to spin to win on derivatives, will this play into future bull runs? I think, again, we're kind of looking at it in just as what it is, and not interpreting it in context of the whole thing. What I would say to kind of like counter that is, yes, you are technically right, But the purpose of doing this whole regulation, at least in my opinion, it's very likely a setup for something later. And what is it a setup for? It's a setup for bringing in the more traditional infrastructure, which means likely Bitcoin's going to be able, I mean, well, we already see Bitcoin futures on CME. We'll probably see it on more exchanges, and obviously an ETF probably at some later date as well. So I think what's likely happening is the same shit that we've been talking about for like the last 2-3 years. The wild west cryptocurrency exchanges are going to very likely be washed out in favor of more legitimized traditional exchanges, which in my opinion is a good thing long term. Legitimizes it. Is there going to be some short-term turbulence? Probably yeah, probably yeah. But as far as the March 31st date, I'd say that that's actually probably going to be a little bit of a counter reaction there, because people who are having their accounts closed, they're already making their decisions right now. They already have that information. That information is out. That's happening. That's what is going to go down. So on 31st of March, it's like, all right, well, that's all cleared out. So that's now an uncertain event that's now certain, and we move on with our lives. The market likes certainty, and well, probably does set it up better long term. Justin Tafoya says, general question, ticker TECS. It's a 3x bearish tech ETF on ARK. It's obviously been in a downtrend since its existence, since 2009. Well, if it's a bearish ETF, then yeah, I would imagine so. TECS. So I think your question is general question. So it's just like. I'm not really sure what a general question means. In this case right here, I mean, obviously when you have a 3x bearish ETF in a full-on bullish market since 2008, it's going to be straight down. Yes. Can you do analysis on this? Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be opposite of, of what you're actually looking for in the traditional markets. So it's like, does the market remain bullish? Yes. Is this one kind of helpful in getting some general bounces and pullbacks? Yeah, I would say so. I mean, this one actually is kind of a due for a bounce right here, back up to like maybe 1030. But, I think the trend obviously speaks for itself. I don't really have anything more to say about this, though. We do see something that is interesting going on as of July 2020. You can see that the volumizer has been turned on over here. And what I mean by that is that this is a clear change of behavior. So something is happening here, and could be indicative of a reversal over the next, I don't know, half year to a year. But at least for now, it's still, I mean, trend is likely to continue at least for now. I do think that it is kind of due for a relief rally, though. However, anywhere up to the 21 or the weekly 55 would be like a fucking gift. As you can see, the weekly 55 has been absolutely hammering this one down ever since 2011, getting this high right here, getting this high right here, this high right here, this high right here, and this high pretty much right there. So that'd be coming in right around about $29.5. Interesting. All right. Let's see. Okay, we got Justin. What else do we got? We got Justin again. Will there ever be a threshold that it can't go any lower? Can it start to reverse and put in a bullish signal insinuating a greater bear market for tech, or will they just do a reverse split? You're talking about this? I mean, will there be a threshold where it can't go low? I mean, I would have said that beforehand, but, I would have said that about a year ago, but seeing as oil went negative, I don't know if you can say that anymore. I don't know if you can actually say that anymore. Obviously, a little bit different fundamentals there, seeing as you have like cost to carry and everything, but can it start to reverse and put in bullish signals insinuating a greater bear market for tech? Yes, it could. Now, I don't know exactly which names that this one tracks specifically, but I'd imagine that if it has all the big ones, all the big ones that are kind of included in Nasdaq, I would be looking at that as a reverse signal. Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's essentially how it is designed to operate. It's going to be tracking that. So yes, I'd say I'd agree with you. Absolutely. Or could they just do a reverse split? They could do reverse split. Sometimes those games get played, yes, but the question, if the question is like a theory question, can they do it? Yeah, absolutely, they can do that. That's one of the games that, that can be played at that level. But if you're asking my opinion as whether they're going to do it or not, there's no way for me to know. There's absolutely zero way for me to know. So I just have to say a healthy amount of, it's possible, yes, but could I just blindly say that's going to happen? No, I can't say that. Free Thinka 69, nice numbers there. Love your work, bruh. And hi, LC Ahadi, nice one. Options trading advice on where to start, please. I have a free playlist in this channel right here that'll go over like extreme basics with options. For the most part, options are, first you have to kind of decide if they're relevant to you. So, I do happen to think, and I am biased here because, I was an options market maker. So I do happen to think that options are pretty fucking important to actually understand. And it's certainly not going to take away from your trading to put some effort into that. But you might want to decide if it's like worth the effort for yourself. Like if you want to become a professional trader, do I think that you should learn options? Yeah, I do think so. It's only going to help you. It's only going to help with managing risk. It's only going to give you more opportunities and options which is a bad turn of phrase there, but But you get what I'm saying in the sense that it's only gonna serve you well. Now, do you need to? That's a question that only you can answer depending upon what your certain preferences are with actually trading. But where to start? Like I said, I have a playlist on this channel. It's extremely basic. From there's a couple of good resources. I think Tasty Trade has some good ideas. I'm not so big of a fan of some of the guys on their team, but they do have some good ideas. They do have some good content. I'm sure that there's other good ones around too. And just going to Investopedia is going to be a good way to get started. Figure out if it's for you, and then if you really want to jump down the rabbit hole, then I'm sure that whatever venues that you're looking for will be opened up to you at that point. It should be more clear. But first things first, I'd get the basics down, understand some really, really basic strategies like spreads, like strangles, straddles, that kind of shit, because that's going to be the basis of anything more intense that you might be doing later. And that, and to be honest, just understanding spreads, strangles, straddles, and covers. It's pretty much going to be the base of any fucking strategy anyways, and it's going to get you probably about 90% or 80, at least 80% of the results, maybe even 90% of the results that you are looking for to begin with, and it's relatively simple to understand. Maybe a few months of practice. Anyways, okay, we're about an hour and 20 minutes into this bitch. Maybe we can stay here for like another 5 minutes or so, and then we'll wrap this bitch up. Do you still trade SPY, puts, and calls? No, I don't trade traditional markets at all. Since 2019, I do not have a badge anymore. I'm not registered as a professional trader or anything like that. I'm completely out of the market. So no, I haven't done that in a couple years now. Anyways, Fractalist Jackson says, sir, longed Bitcoin at 53,500, SAFU target 57,000 bucks. Well, I think your SAFU target would have been 56,000 bucks right there on that last wick, obviously. But it calls into question like what were you looking for when you first got into that trade? Because I'm actually hesitant to answer this question because I can give you my opinion on this, but the real answer that I should be giving you, which is probably going to serve you better long term, is this. Look, when you got into that trade, you should have had a take profit area in mind. To enter into a trade without an exit plan, without a risk management plan, is ridiculous. And if you continue to do this over time, you will get fucking wrecked. So what I feel like I shouldn't answer that because it's only going to promote bad habits, and honestly, like long term, you need to have these things fucking in place. Now, personally speaking, would I be looking at 57,000 bucks? I don't see the relevancy of 57,000 bucks. That makes absolutely zero sense to me. I don't even know where the fuck you're getting that from, to be honest with you. Because if Bitcoin does break above essentially this level right here, I'd be looking for further continuations to the upside, just like past 60,000 bucks. So it doesn't even make sense for 57 to begin with. If you're going for like the trend trade in this case, which it sounds like you might be, but at the same time, what did you enter in at, like 51 or something? I lost it. I lost it. 53,500. 53,500. Well, in that case, you just basically just let yourself, you just let yourself get back to your entry right there. Yeah, it would be pretty obvious to kind of manage risk below 51.5, but that's 2,000 bucks in positional risk right there. I don't like that. I don't like that. I'd probably be a little more. I'd probably take your profits honestly, and then go back to the drawing board and like really think about that, man, because you can't fucking do that over time. I can tell you straight up, man. Like one of the reasons why I got wrecked and why I lost pretty much everything at one point in my life is because I wouldn't go through the rigmarole of like having a very rigorous plan and actually more importantly following that too, which was really embarrassing to talk about, but it is true. Anyways, yo my man says, yo sir Krown bro, can you look at AAL stock? Yeah, American Airlines, sure. American Airlines right here on NAS. Jesus Christ, man, this one got fucking beat up. Oh my God. I'd be looking for this one to give some upside tries towards 22.25. Short term and medium term. Long term, is this one reversing? We do have macro higher lows, it looks like, on a monthly. I probably wouldn't say it's reversing just yet, but short term, medium term, I would be looking for some upside here. It is looking like it is in a reversal posture, to be fair. At least short term, medium term, I'd be looking for about 22.25. If it starts to close on new highs above this 22.25 high that we saw about a week ago, I'd probably extend that run all the way up to fill the gap somewhere around like 27 or 27.25. And I'd be looking for that area to probably push back on it too. All right, cool. Okay, now I'm just seeing, hey, what's up, Nate? Can you look at Cint on weekly and monthly? All right, this is gonna be the last one here. Jesus Christ, man, my voice starting to lose it a bit. I'm guessing this is, you want to look at it like an actual stock, or do we see any bullshit cryptos here? Nope, it looks like that's a no, sir. Oh. Okay, so moving on. All right, let's go over here. Let's go over here. And let's go over here. Okay, so how do we want to present this? All right, so we'll do the daily, 2-day, 3-day. And then we'll go to the lower term time frames. I need to take a sip of this water, though. But we'll wrap this bitch up now. Una momento, sirs and sirs. Voice hurt too much for that one, too. Oh, Mr. Alex Switch. Good to see our other lovely moderator in here, too. Lovely, lovely, lovely. All right. Bitcoin on the daily secondary charts having multiple follow-through signals that we identified yesterday, of which first things first, we have the bullish cross on the MACD right here. That's accompanied by a break above the 20 simple. Good, also break above the medium of the range, right around that $54,000 level. Plus, that is accompanied by hidden bullish divergence on our MACD histogram right here, with making massively lower lows on MACD histogram, plus higher lows on price action from 30,000 to 40,000. And that is accompanied by an ADX DMI bullish signal right here, with the DMI plus being dominant and the ADX actually getting above the threshold as well, both having positive slopes. All this is good when combined together, of course. And this can be further looked at with, of course, that interplay that we've seen between the bottom side Toronto band and the 55 exponential moving average right here, of which anytime we have seen it cross to the downside, we at the very least get a test to the bottom side of the Toronto bands. And then anytime that we've seen it cross the upside plus a move above the 20 simple moving average, we have seen essentially a melt to the upside, like you see right here, like you see right here, like you see right here, and like you see several times in the year before that. And what do you know? We actually did get that signal confirmed as of last night's closure. So I am generally bullish on Bitcoin on all higher term timeframes. This gets even more intense on the 2-day and 3-day, of which the 2-day had a nice closure last night, closing above the top side of the medium range. And we do see the same signals going on the 2-day DMI plus, getting a bullish signal right there with the ADX increasing that positive slope, and the DMI plus bouncing off the threshold. In fact, both of them bouncing off the threshold, which is looking pretty damn good. Want to see the 2-day MACD fall through as well, which it will with any sort of a closure above $57,000, but that's not closing tonight. The 3-day is closing tonight, and the 3-day has the same sort of interplay potentially available to it as well. It will remain in upside posture as long as we close above 52,400, and the DMI ADX is also given another reset bullish signal, so all's, mostly looking well and good there. So higher term timeframes, I am more or less bullish on. Of course, should also notify about the weekly hidden bullish divergence that is currently in progress right now between this point and this point. That's your lows right here at 32,000 bucks, and our lows right here at about 45,000 bucks. Very, very good stuff. But in the short-term timeframes, is Bitcoin likely to just kind of green deal its way to the heavens from exactly where we're at right now? Maybe yes, maybe no. But actually, first things first, let's talk about upside trajectory targets if and when Bitcoin does get going, of which I think we have right here. Yeah, so I would be looking at this as a bit of a pattern target, also a Fibonacci extension target at the 3.618, right around 68,000 bucks. Again, if Bitcoin does get that continuation essentially above the last weekly closing high or the last daily closing high. So that'd be 55,000 bucks and about 58,000 bucks respectively speaking. And that would very likely insinuate targets up to about 68,000 bucks right here, with, stops along the way at 62 and then maybe 66. But with all of that in mind, let's go down to the short-term timeframes right here, because I do express a little bit concern with the short-term timeframes. We do see momentum oscillators are turning south across the board. 4-hour Stokes, 3-hour Stokes, bi-hourly Stokes, and hourly Stokes, all coming down at the same time. Even a little bit of a jewel cell signal, that's mostly played out here. I mean, that kind of did happen at the top thus far, and we actually even getting hidden bullish divergence on the lows right now. So could it be fair to say that we've already played out that pullback move? You could make that argument, yes, but I would still be cognizant in the lower term timeframes. It really wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary to come back down and test around that 2-spot extension, the same sort of pivot that we were looking at in the medium term timeframes earlier this past couple of weeks, actually, at about 51,500. So I do still think that there could be a little bit of a short-term downside move, but ultimately on the higher term timeframes, continuation to the upside is implied. We have a lot more good things going on than bad things, and most of the bad things are concentrated in the short-term timeframes. In fact, the only bad thing that I really still have on my charts here is a CME 3-day signal, but it's looking like, one bad signal versus a plethora of good signals is probably not going to work out in that favor. And looking at the 3-day structure right here too, I mean, this is really hard to hate as far as that goes, especially on CME, which I think is rather obvious for upside continuation. So looking good across the board there. And in short term, do we play it a little bit of sideways and down? Possibly yes. Like I said, you could make the argument that we've already seen that move to the downside. We did get down to about 53 ultimately, or a little bit below 53,000 bucks. But generally speaking, I am looking for further upside continuation, maybe a little bit of short term and downside. I'd be using, by the way, still the top side of this blue box territory right here on a 4-hour closure to denote continuation, and that would be anywhere on a closure above 55,000 bucks. We came very fucking close. It looks like last night at 54,960 closing price, but I still want to see it close above that region. And then yes, I'd be looking for a retest of all-time high, probably a short-term pullback right around there, and then continuation implied. And you can see that the fib's still very much working right here between the 2 spot 414 and the 2 spot 272, getting this nice little range thus far. So with all of that in mind, higher term time frame still good. Short term time frames a little bit of sideways, maybe a little bit of downside, but ultimately I do still like this long term. So with that said, I would like to wish you the best and the happiest. Thanks for joining on in on this lovely little Wednesday morning. I salute you all, and